Hello everyone. Today we're going to make a bug scene using Gravit. So I have typed into Google Gravit and I'm going to click on Gravit to open it. I'll click Get Started. All right, we're going to do a new design, paper size, drop that down, and let's choose US letter landscape. All right, here is our workspace. Let's get started by adding a rectangle, which is going to be filled with a gradient for our sky. So let's go up to the top menu and get the rectangle tool. Let's click and drag out a rectangle that covers the entire document. I'm going to use my hand tool to just move this around in the viewfinder. Okay, now make sure it's selected with your black arrow. Let's go over to the fills and click it. All right, now we could just choose a flat fill color, but let's do a gradient in the sky instead. Right here where it says color fill, let's drop that down and choose linear gradient. From here, we need to change the color stops on the gradient editor. All right, so click one of them. You'll see it kind of gets a white outline around it. And go ahead and choose a new color. You can choose from the spectrum right here and the color picker. You can also choose from the swatches. All right, so that's my first color. Now I'm going to click on the other color stop right here and choose my next color. Okay, the linear gradient is running left to right. I want my gradient to run vertically up and down. So we're going to grab this gradient bar and we're going to click it and drag it and pull it up. I'm going to get this end of the gradient bar, click it and drag it so that it's straight down. All right, from here you could edit up and down how much of each color you want. Okay, this is going to be my sky layer and I don't want to keep clicking on it. So I'm going to go to the layers palette and I'm going to hover until I see that lock layer symbol and click it to lock the layer. Now I'm going to add a brand new layer by clicking on the new layer icon. All right, now on my new layer, I am going to create some rolling grass hills. And to do that, I'm going to make two shapes. I'm going to start out by making a rectangle and filling it green on the bottom of my workspace or my artwork. All right, so I've drawn a rectangle. Let's make sure it goes to the edges. All right, and I'm going to go choose a fill in a green. Okay, next I'm going to add some mountains, some kind of rolling mountains on top of the flat plane. I'm going to go get the pen tool. And to start, I'm just going to start right here on the edge. And in fact, I'm going to overlap this shape. So I'm going to start on the edge, overlapping, click to set an anchor, and I'm going to jump up to the top where I want the top of my mountain to be, or rolling hills. I'm going to click, hold, and drag with the mouse, creating a path and a direction handle. Now I'm going to just kind of arc down and notice that it's showing you, well, this is what the future path will look like. And I'm going to click, hold, drag, and just keep click, hold, drag, making some nice smooth paths to represent my hills. Click, hold, drag, click, hold, drag, and I'm just going to kind of have this overlap. Now I need to go back to the original anchor because I want to close this shape. So I'm going to keep overlapping and go back to that original anchor. There it is, and click to close it. So now you can see that Gravit automatically closed the shape and filled it with that default white. So I'm going to get my black arrow, select it, and now I'm going to fill it with a similar green. I'm actually going to get my eyedropper here and sample this green. There we go. So now I got the same green, although it got a default black stroke around it. So I'm going to select this now, and right here is my borders, the stroke, the outline, and I don't want that. So I'm going to, let's see if I can get rid of that free trial thing. Okay, scroll up a little bit. Here it is, borders, and then right here is that eyeball. I'm going to click it to turn off the visibility of the border so that there's no outline, and this looks like seamless hills. All right, I could go back and drop down the black pointer arrow and choose the white sub-select. And if you want to click on it, let's select it first with the black arrow, and then we'll edit. Okay, you could edit your path or edit your shape with your sub-select. All right, I'm just going to move mine around a little bit. There we go. Okay, next, let's make a bug. All right, I am going to, before I make the bug, I'm going to select my rectangle, and I'm going to shift click to also select the hills. And I want to group this, make it act like it's one shape. I'm going to go to modify group selection. Modify group selection. That way, they now function as one. So if I move one, they both move. Okay, next, time to do our bug. Okay, from here, I am going to go get my ellipse tool, and I'm going to draw an ellipse for the body of the bug, and then draw another ellipse for the head. All right, going to use my black arrow and adjust these, move them around a little bit. Okay. From here, I'm going to select both the body. Well, let's go ahead and I'm going to make the body one color and the head kind of a tint of that color. So I'm going to select the body, and let's go to the fill, click on that, and let's choose a color for your bug. All right, then I'm going to select the head, go back to the fill, and I'm going to sample. I'm going to get the eyedropper again, sample that purple, and then I just want to do kind of a tint. So I'm going to go a little bit lighter for the head. There we go. Okay, so now I have the body and the head. Let's add some wings. I'm going to get the pen tool, and I'm just going to make a wing over here and bring it over to the bug momentarily. So I'm going to go make a wing first by clicking to set an anchor. I'm going to jump to what I think is the side of the wing. So I'm going to click, hold, drag down, and let go. And then I'm going to do the bottom of the wing, click, hold, drag out. And I'm just going to work my way back to my original anchor. And I'm going to click and drag and kind of pull to create that fun shape. All right, from here, if you like it, you can fill it, or you can grab your sub-select, your white arrow, and while it's still, selected with all of the anchors and handles visible, you can get your white arrow and go ahead and edit the wing, make it nice and smooth. All right, so I like what I see so far. I'm going to go ahead and select it, and this time I'm going to give it a fill, a new fill color. Okay, and right now it's got that default black border on it again, and I don't think I want a border, so I'll select it, go over to borders, click that eyeball to turn off the visibility of the border. All right, so now I've got my wing, and I'm just going to hover on the corner, rotate a little bit, move it around, maybe resize it. Okay, and then I'm also, while it's still selected, I'm going to go over here to the appearance panel, and I'm going to reduce the opacity, make that wing see-through. All right, next, I need another wing. So what I'm going to do is duplicate it. I'm going to select it with the black arrow, hold down Option or Alt, click and drag it to duplicate. So click it to select it with the black arrow, hold down Option or Alt, click and drag. All right, now we've duplicated it, but it's the wrong direction. So I want to flip this, and I'm going to go right here. This is going to be flip horizontal. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and it flipped it horizontal. All right, and it's actually exactly where I want it. Or you could move it around if you want. All right, so we duplicated it and flipped it. Okay, from here, let's start adding some unique details to your bug. Maybe you're going to add more wings, feet, eyes. I'm going to go ahead and add some antenna. I'm going to go back and get the pen tool, and I'm going to go ahead and click to set an anchor and just click and drag out to make a little wavy line. All right, I'm going to select it with the black arrow, and I'm now going to go down to my borders. Right now that's on 1 point for the stroke weight. I'm going to make it 3. So I'm going to click 3 and hit return or enter. So there's my first little antenna. Let's go back and get the pen tool, and I'm going to draw another antenna. All right, I'll select it with the black arrow, go back to borders, and increase the stroke weight to 3. All right, right now the antenna are black. You could leave them that way if you want. I'm going to go ahead and select both of them. So I'm going to get the black arrow, click on one, shift click on the other. They're both selected, and I'm going to go ahead and change their border color to match more of my body. All right, and I'm also going to move them down a little bit so they overlap on the head. Okay, so from here I have my bug, and it's all these separate shapes, and I want to move it around and resize it. Let's group everything. All right, so get your black arrow, drag a box around the whole bug so that you've selected all of it. And if you get some of that background in there, make sure it's locked. All right, so I'm going to select all of it, and I'm going to go to Modify Group Selection. All right, hopefully that did the trick. Let's see. Oops, we grouped it with the mountain. Let's undo that. Edit, undo, undo group selection. All right, so in this case, I'm going to go ahead and just shift click on all my objects to just select the bug. There we go. Modify group selection. Okay, so now the bug is all grouped, and I can just grab it anywhere, and I've got him. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shrink it down a little bit and duplicate it. So let's hold Option or Alt with that black arrow, and I'm going to duplicate my bug a couple times. All right, next I'm going to go ahead and resize them and rotate them. So I'm playing around with making the ones that are higher on the picture plane smaller so that they look like they're farther away. And the ones that are lower on the picture plane, I'm going to make them bigger so that they look like they're closer up. Okay, do play around with making some of them, rotated higher up. I'm going to make this one maybe lower transparency. Okay, make sure you add some unique details, make your bug look different than mine. All right, my next step is to add one more detail. I'm going to add some raindrops. Maybe you want to add raindrops, maybe you want to add a sun, maybe you want to add flowers. Okay, to do my raindrop, I'm going to get the pen tool. I'm going to click and release to set an anchor, and then I'm going to make the rounded part at the end. So I'm going to click, drag down, click and hold, drag to the right. I'm going to go right back up to here, click, drag a little bit, and I'm going to go back to my original anchor and close the path to make my shape. All right, from here I could get that white sub-select and I could edit this, maybe make it smoother, smooth out the paths, make them look nice and clean, maybe make it rounder, maybe make it longer. All right, I'm going to go ahead and select it with the black arrow, give it a fill color. All right, and it's got that stroke around it. I could leave the stroke, but I think I'll go ahead and select it and click the eyeball to turn off the stroke. And I also am in the appearance panel, I'm going to reduce the transparency of that raindrop. Okay, now it's pretty big. Let's resize it, and I'm going to duplicate it a couple of times. I'm going to hold Option or Alt on the keyboard and keep duplicating. Okay, and I could play around with resizing some of these raindrops, make them look farther away. The ones that are smaller will look farther away. The ones that are bigger will be closer. Okay, there's the beginning of my bug symbol scene. Continue adding interesting details to yours. Like I said, maybe a sun, maybe some flowers, maybe some clouds.